very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. As we come to the close of this milestone year, the question that beckons one and all is, has the world changed forever? Today in focus are media agencies. This past year has been hard for industries across, causing a massive dent in businesses and leading to dim consumer sentiments, and media agencies are no exception. With falling ad spends, automation and programmatic media buying dominating the headlines, the media buying landscape seems poised for change and may possibly never look the same again. The advertising industry has been in hot water, and that's not breaking news, and agencies find themselves grappling with the harsh reality of clients not spending on media like they used to. To give us a sense of what the future of media agencies will be in terms of shape, size, operation, and most importantly, role, and what will change and what will remain, we are joined by Prasanth Kumar, CEO, GroupM, South Asia, Vikram Sakhuja, Group CEO, Madison Media, and Divya Karani, CEO, Dentsu X. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Truly a pleasure having you on Brand Equity. So let me first start with a generic motherhood question, which is that the world as we know it has changed, and whether it's changed forever or not, the jury's still out on that. But for now, how we live, how we interact, how we buy, and what we value seems to have changed. Prasanth, if I can shoot the first question to you, what in the media landscape, in your opinion, has changed dramatically in 2020 and will remain in 2021 as we step into a new year and hopefully a brighter year?
Primarily, the biggest impact has been, I think we learned that, many things we could also manage it, using technology, right? It's not just within an organization, it's again inter-organization, right? A lot of learning on how we could manage our own business with our clients and partners is a big headline, learning that we all had. As practitioners, we've had lives where we travel every day, we do meetings, and we engage with people, different aspects. But I think a lot of it, I think for me personally also has been a great learning that we could actually do using the leveraging of the technology aspect. Yeah.
Okay, let me get into specifics with you, Vikram. And let's talk about the role of the media agency. I think it'll be a consensus of opinions when I say that, the media agency have been predominantly trading traditional media buying. Of course, there has been a move digital and all of that. But this entire, fact that, the media agency was personified through buying. And given that we've seen this acceleration of automation that has been adopted by, any media agency worth it, how do you see, other, pillars that the media agency landscape or agencies have to now grow and keep, so that the media agency as we formerly knew it versus the new age, new shape and size of a media agency seems more valuable, more relevant in the new era that we're entering?
Look, as far as the transformation part is concerned, let's first understand what is the transformation that's happening. I don't think the pandemic has created the transformation, and like Divya saying, it's probably accelerated it. But let's try to understand what is the transformation that's been happening in media. I think fundamentally, till maybe 10 years back or whatever, we were still really, our job was to build awareness and consideration and do that at the lowest price. But now we are actually trying to, the entire game has moved to delivering outcomes. So you're actually going to every element of whatever, engagement, experience, advocacy, sales. Media has become a very hardcore sales channel now. And all of these are things that have happened in the last decade. And sure, in the pandemic, it's accelerated. So one is, everything has become outcomes focused. That's one transformation. Second is, as a result of this, targeting has now reached completely different. We are now buying audiences rather than impressions, just demographic impressions. We're actually buying audience profiles. Contextual has come in some time back when that whatever zero moment of truth in the entire Google piece and all that. And now that's a very powerful force. We've been taught how to retarget. If you reach get a second time. Hyper-local targeting has reached a completely new age form. You can go really go hyper on this one. Buying has moved from what digital people call reservation and we used to call placement into biddable. More and more, we are getting into attribution where you're able to explain how media works across the journey, how it works cross media and even within media. And interestingly, in media implementation, this is part where how spots ran, did they deliver the audience, how should you pay against them? This is an area where, again, this is just the tip of the iceberg, but there is this also an area where transformation is going to happen. Now, it's important to understand if these are the four outcomes, targeting, attribution, and this entire media implementation piece. The catalyst which has driven this has been what? Digital, data, and technology. And in technology, in particular, AI, MI, and now blockchain. So, fact is that if this is stuff which has been happening for a while, it's only now that digital was 23% of the ADX till last year. In the first half, it's reached 30% already. So now with digital being really playing in almost in pole position, it's just becoming so much more important. So pandemic per se has not done anything. It's just that the entire digital focus has forced us to sort of up the ante on all these points.
PK, having heard what Vikram has actually said so far, are you in agreement with what he said? And if that is the case, and you're in agreement, how do you then foresee the rejig of the agency? How will it look?
See, as an industry, as an ecosystem, the most important thing I feel which has happened is the power of collaboration. I think, when we look at transformation, in my view, there are probably three areas in which the transformation can probably reflect. And one is in the area of, how the business outcomes, as Vikram mentioned, is reflecting in transformatively, right? Which is the way that we look at measure some of the investment, measure some of the marketing plans, etc. How do they, look at different ways of transformative, call outs and way of working, right? That's one. The other one is the way, the entire aspect of how we leverage technology and therefore the right skills and, the upgraded skills and different, technology aspects coming in, leveraging technologists to come in and, apply into some of the work that we're doing. And the third one is how the entire business will start looking transformative, right? Because that's where you call the shift of some of the mixes that can happen. In my view, as earlier mentioned by Vikram, that already we have seen how some of these mixes have been impacted in the last 8-9 months, right? And this will continue. And as an organization, I think a lot of work we will go on developing our own talent, introducing some of the, new skills and diverse skills that is required, upskilling many of our talent and being ready for that.
Let me take that question to you as well. And, I'd like an answer that is specific in terms of, how you envisage, the model, the shape and size of a media agency from what it stands, how we know it today. How do you see that changing, if at all, in terms of the mix, in terms of, if you look at the current mix of people you employ in a media agency, how dramatically will that shift in terms of, 2021, 2022, when if majority of your buying and let's say even planning now, as is being talked about across the globe, will be automized, then, what are the other core capabilities, you will look at as will become pillars of the media agency, and what is the kind of, personnel mix we'll see? Who will be redundant and who will be, newly hot, places that need to be, that will appear in the system?
It is not man versus machine. That's a reaction and not a response. So therefore, what automation will bring to the table is certain efficiencies and speed, right? So to my mind, it is designing outcomes, right? And using and harnessing automation to deliver those outcomes. And therefore, to your point, Sonali, about redundancy, it's a broad parameter, but the most important perspective is the mindset change. So you will find across the board, if people are willing to embrace change and learn and walk along the path, as organizations, we need to enable, handhold, enable them to do it. And those, no matter what they were previously employed as, if they are not willing, that mindset is not there, then they will, by default, be left by the wayside. That, to my mind, is the most important criteria. Because yes, as organizations, all of us are going to try and upskill and get people to embrace change. Those who do not, for whatever very many reasons, will be the ones who will be left out.
So, we've heard both PK and Divya, give their points of view. Vikram, there has been a lot of commentary globally on the fact that, the relevance of a media agency and what they offer to a table has never been a more pressing and burning question than now. Are you in agreement with that? In India, specifically, yes, there has been a lot of talk of digitization and all the other things that have been spoken about that needs to be embraced. Have clients embraced that with equal agility and efficiency? Is my question to you. Have they kind of changed their mindsets? Have you, or are you projecting in the future seeing a drastic change in the media mix that we're used to versus, let's say, a media mix in 2021 or 2022? Do you see such drastic changes being embraced by all stakeholders? And of course, your view on the new face of the media agency.
Answer is yes. I definitely see the clients embracing the same kind of conversations that we're talking. Otherwise, it won't happen, right? Finally, if we just talk and the clients don't buy the plans, then whatever we are saying is theoretical. If I have to put in the form of a function, you either have strategy, you have, let's say creative, or for the want of a better word, and then you have the planning, the implementation planning piece. Then you have operations and commercial. And in the insight piece, you have research insights, but that's also still put as part of the strategy piece. Now, reality today is that firstly, nobody's going to get redundant. The part which is going to happen is the operations and the commercial piece. Today, all us agencies, we are dishing out over 1 million TV spots every month, and many more sort of transactions online and so on and so forth. It's just exponentially going up, and digital is just making that rigor and the kind of transaction increase just go up so much more. Now, either we sort of hire an army of people to do that, or get the same guys who are there with us today to actually handle much greater capacity, which is where automation is going to do. So nobody need to actually worry about losing a job. It is actually just productivity, so ability to handle that much more. I think the planners in general will now move much more towards a digital bent of mind. And a digital bent of mind is defined as one who's more comfortable with data, analytics, algorithms. And these are the kind of people who typically are younger. They are digital natives. So I'm really talking about, Gen Z really, and millennials at the top end, not more than that. So I'm really seeing the overall profile of the agency getting younger, because survival of the fittest will make sure that either guys like me just reinvent ourselves and learn digital, or else we become dinosaurs. But I think many people are actually doing it, and we've told people that you have to stay relevant. You have to sort of adopt all these kind of things. So I see that people getting a little younger. I've also seen over the years that's a worrying sign for media agencies. It's got a little bit more cylindrical, not pyramidical. I think and cylindrical is not very good from a P&L standpoint, because as margin pressures go in, obviously the people at the top are paid more. So it doesn't make sense to have a very, very cylindrical structure. It makes sense to have a pyramidical structure, in which case it really means that the the planning piece that you have to do, or a lot of the work has to be pushed down. And that capability enhancing, the right talent to bring them in, I think the focus has to really go there. So once you start doing that and having the right talent at the bottom, and the top guys actually just start making themselves add value in the area of new business strategy, client leadership, that kind of stuff, I think we'll have a more efficient and well-run agency.
And how will the media mix change, if at all?
Look, media mix, it's pretty, I think TV is holding its own. Digital is obviously increasing. We thought now this year itself, digital has overtaken print. I think the ones where I'm worried really are that this in the pandemic, there was already a headwind for print, and now that has become a headwind gale almost. And I think unfortunately, out of home has been one which across the 35 years that I've been sort of in the media space, 30, 32, whatever years that I've been doing this stuff, OH has been really actually pretty much 6-7% of ADEX has been out of home. This has been the first year in many years that out of home has suddenly lost favor, because the people who decide are really the guys working from home. These are the corporate guys. That's where mega bucks are being spent in marketing. The SMEs for whom is now business as usual, they can't afford to work from home. They're all going out. We're seeing traffic counts actually go up to 80% of pre-COVID levels. But the guys who are sitting working from home don't see that. So they haven't they don't have the trust in doing outdoor campaigns. Likewise, because their own high-rise doesn't get the newspaper, they haven't started advertising in print. These headwinds can actually turn out to be dangerous. Likewise, cinema, of course, was tiny in the first place, but I thought there was some good consolidation happening and some good technology. So that has hit a huge roadblock.
PK, what do you think, is the biggest obstacles currently facing the industry right now?
I'm not completely concerned, or I'm not concerned with the aspect of any kind of news which you are hearing, or which you're seeing on terms of insourcing and stuff like that, because I think there's a lot of value from comprehensiveness as well as holistic accountability, which comes in as a single owner accountability for any marketer, right? And as Divya mentioned earlier, some of the solutions can come from from the practitioner itself. Some of the solutions can come from the marketer itself, or some of the solutions can come from the supply side also, right? And that is where many of the platforms and many of the supply ecosystem are actually innovating themselves also. Whether you look at from a print ecosystem, whether you look at from a TV ecosystem, or any of the ecosystem, even when Vikram spoke about out of home, there are digital out of home as aspects which are evolving. Right now, these are all different solutions. These are all different insights which the marketer can use it, which agencies can actually, design as a solution for clients. Right. So my whole point is that when we look at this, I'm not seeing it as a hindrance. I think it's a journey that is happening. There are a lot more learning happening on this. I think specialization becomes critical on this. We need from clients and marketers to understand that this is all from the context of how it can really give benefits back to them for better outcomes. We also need the entire supply ecosystem to understand that they also need to invest back into their ecosystem to produce something where they can holistically leverage their assets and also invent themselves new, redefine themselves new, right? So all of this will actually help us to sustain the ecosystem and enhance the ecosystem in a better way.
Divya, just asking you a fundamental question. Would you say that, going forward, a media agency's main activity will be no longer to just buy media? Right?
Completely. You are so right. In all the discussion that we've been having for the past few minutes, step back. In fact, a contrarian view, the role of an agency, notice I'm saying agency, has become even more important than it ever was in the past. The fact is, our marketeers, along with the agencies, are equally confronting this transformation. And in this period, agencies that partner marketeers in taking it forth without any boundaries. In fact, at Dentsu, I find that we've moved even more upstream than we ever were before, partnering them so much so that we have a couple of our clients, auto clients, who perhaps may introduce a couple of models in the market because of what as an outcome of the results we've delivered. Now, this was not possible a couple of years ago. And that is the partnership that agencies bring to the table. So where we are just about trying to, because of this automation, thinking about, perhaps there'll be redundancy. To the contrary, our role has never been more important than what it is today. Bringing fresh insights, partnering clients in confronting, because the fact is our marketeers are grappling with change equally.
I somewhat, if your question was that will media agencies in the future not rely so much on buying, but more on strategy, I somewhat disagree with Divya. His strategy, his creative ideas, is that important? Of course it is. That goes without saying. But I've yet to see a client who will sustainably just pay you for thinking. You're going to get paid only when you implement. So all the stuff, and yes, you'll try to sell your analytics, you'll try to sell your models, you'll try to sell all your strategic thoughts, and they will be valued. The entire process in this is called a trusted advisor framework. You move from domain expert to trusted advisor to business partner. But for us, the roots will lie in domain expert. And the domain expertise is expertise of media and the ability to place. So relationships with media are systems which allow us to place media, the entire planning thing that goes into media. So when you're talking about the design, delivery, all of that, the delivery part is very intrinsic to what we do. And if you take it away from us, it won't be the same. No, it's like your share broker does he only buy and sell? He does a ton of analysis before he comes and tells you which stocks to buy and sell. No? So I don't have any problem in being called a media buyer. But there's obviously a ton of thinking which has gone in to tell you how you should deploy your marketing money.
Well, fair enough. Thank you, Divya, and thank you, gentlemen, for taking time out and sharing your insights and wisdom on, what the future is possibly going to look like. I think it is still quite ambiguous, but there's some sort of skeleton drawing that seems to have appeared on the canvas. Wishing all of you a very, very happy 2021, and hopefully there will be more occasions to meet one another and do discussions real time than on Zoom. Thank you so much.